who's ready for some good old-fashioned trick-or-treating? Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and happy Halloween to each and every one of you. Here, have some candy. Ready? Here, have some candy left. Yeah, take all my candy. Yeah. And to get you all into the Halloween spirit, I thought I'd take you guys down nostalgia lane by sharing with you my top 10 favorite cartoon Halloween specials. These were the specials that I watched growing up as a kid that have stuck with me to this very day, and I just overall enjoyed watching. You may agree with some of my choices, you may outright disagree with many of my choices, but this is my list, and I thought I'd just share it with you guys this Halloween day. So let's get started. Starting off our list in a very spooky way is my number 10 choice, Headless Cabby / Friday the 13th from Hey Arnold. Both these episodes are pretty simple by nature. The first one displaying the traditions of telling scary folk tales during a sleepover to your friends or during Halloween time, and I loved how the episode really plays with your expectations. You think it's gonna be something scary, but it turns out to be a comedic punchline. I loved that. Not to mention the way the first part of the episode ends, that was really well done. And the second one is obviously about Friday the 13th and how Arnold doesn't really believe in all these superstitions, so he breaks every single superstition that day and gets bombarded with bad luck upon bad luck upon bad luck. And poor Gerald is forced to do it alongside him, and he gets hit with bad luck as well. Both parts were nice and moody with solid comedic buildup and just made for a really entertaining Halloween episode. Number 9 is codenamed Kids Next Door, Operation Tricky and Uncool. A 2-for-1 special here, with the first one being about number 4 accepting a challenge from his teammates to see who could get the most candy by night's end, and the second part being Sector V having to face off against a horde of nerd zombies. Give us our card back. The first part of the episode was my personal favorite and the most memorable, as I have done that type of challenge before with my friends as well. Who hasn't challenged their friends to see who could get the most candy by night's end? And number 4 hysterically shines in this episode, guys, using his clever trickery to infiltrate Captain Stickybeard's ship, which we all know with him being a candy pirate is chock full of candy in every single corridor. But what does he do? He shows his pure idiocy by only trying to find his bag of one candy, a butterscotch candy that he got at one door, and decides, you know what, that's all I needed, I'm leaving. He jumps out of the window and he's walking away. He's like, I got my candy and now I gotta get more candy. Wait a minute, I just left an entire ship full of candy. I'm an idiot! God bless you, number 4. Your stupidity was the highlight of my day. Coming in at number 8 is King Ramesses' Curse from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Now, I know this episode is not a Halloween special, nor is it Halloween themed or even takes place on Halloween, but you can make a really strong argument that any episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog could be, in and of itself, a Halloween themed episode, as most of them are horror centric with some comedy spliced in. The reason that I put this particular episode on this list is because of how terrifying I found it as a kid, and I still find it a bit creepy now as an adult. And the reason for that is because of this. King Ramesses' ghost, who haunts the entire episode with his creepy, eerie voice, return the slab or suffer my curse. And it was one of the few times I ever saw 3D integrated into a Courage the Cowardly Dog episode, and it really added to the terrifying nature of that character. And every time he came on screen, as a kid, when I was watching it, I couldn't look at it. I'd turn away, cover my eyes, and wait for him to go away, then resume the episode. This episode holds a very special place in my heart as being one of the most terrifying moments of my childhood, and I had to put it on this list. Spooking us at number 7 is Spooky from Lilo and Stitch the series. The perfect experiment for a Halloween themed episode, as the experiment Spooky can literally become the one thing that you fear most in this world, and Lilo and Stitch have to figure out not only how to stop him, but to overcome their fears in order to stop him. Not only is the idea of an experiment like Spooky a very excellent and plausible one, as Jumbo was making experiments to use as kind of like weapons against his foes, and what better weapon to use than a weapon that can literally bring their fear to life, but you really get to see a lot of character growth and development in this episode, as a lot of characters face their biggest fear head on and overcome them. It's a perfect concept for an already excellent TV show like Lilo and Stitch the series. Ready to kick some butt at number 6 is Underfist. From the crazy and zany world of Billy and Mandy, Underfist was a spin-off special that followed many of the secondary characters that were featured in the Grim Adventures, like Irwin, Hostel Gatto, Jeff the Spider, Scar, and Fred Burger, as they faced off against, get ready for this, a marshmallow bunny bent on ruling the world with his candy army. Yup. That's the story. They even poke fun of this concept in the special itself, wondering why a marshmallow bunny? Wouldn't that be for Easter, not Halloween? Now, it's no secret to anybody who's been following my channel since the very beginning that I am a huge fan of the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. So when I heard that they were making a spin-off based off of the show called Underfist, I got super stoked and I watched it the day that it came out. And I fell in love with it, guys. Like, I could not get enough of Underfist, and I couldn't wait to see it as a series. And then something happened, and then it just didn't become a series, and I was like, why? It's such a perfect concept. But fortunately, they ended up giving us 90 minutes of awesomeness with this special. Not to mention how unique its concept was. I mean, to have these candy monsters from another dimension come into our world to take it over and eat the trick-or-treaters. I have not heard a concept so ridiculous and hysterical in any TV show or movie before. That's one thing that I loved about Maxwell Adams. I loved how creative his mind was with his concepts. This was one of them. Not to mention how dynamic of a team Underfist was. From Irwin, the half mummy, half vampire kid with the awesome powers, Hostel Gatto, the badass with all the cool weapons, Scar, who's kinda like a Hostel Gatto but more creepier and just, you never know what team he's really playing for, Jeff the Spider, very innocent but has cool spider-like powers, and Fred Burger, with a fantastic mix of great and colorful animation, fun and thrilling action, many hilarious moments, and some solid musical numbers. I'm not even kidding. Trick or Treater Eaters has now become an instant Hollywood classic to me, and I'll put a link to the song in the description so you can listen to it for yourself. Underfist overall is just a true treat and a must-see for Halloween. Coming in at number 5 is Ed, Edd n Eddy's Boo-Ha-Ha! In this Halloween special, after endlessly watching a bunch of scary movies, Ed's mind becomes warped and now he sees everything as if it is a scary movie and sees people as monsters from these scary movies, which makes him kind of act a bit irrationally and attack them unprovoked. And he's causing mayhem around the cul-de-sac, which gets the Eds into a whole heap of trouble. The basic Ed and Eddy formula, but with the Halloween twist. I got super excited when I heard they were doing a Halloween special, as they rarely do special type episodes. And it had all the elements I came to love about Ed and Eddy, but it took place in Halloween. And I love the idea of Ed kind of going psychotic and seeing things as monsters, which led to a lot of creative character designs used in this episode. With the Ed and Eddy animation style, it looked fantastic. I mean, the Canker sisters as witches, Jazz as Medusa, and Kevin as the iconic Headless Horseman, brilliant. And I love seeing Ed's imagination really go wild in this episode. It's a really fun Halloween episode and just an overall great Ed and Eddy episode. And if you're a fan, you have to see it. Coming in at number 4 is Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Blue. Somewhat similar to the Ed, Edd n Eddy Halloween special, we got Wilt, Eduardo, and Coco watching a really crappy B horror film, and for some reason it actually gets to them as they overreact by boarding up all the windows and doors, keeping anybody from coming in or out, especially Frankie, who at the same time is kind of dealing with their own little horror story with this mystery person in a raincoat and a hook kind of chasing her down. And also at the same time, Blue is suffering from a cold which turns him from blue blue to pale white. He's walking around like, and so Wilt, Eduardo, and Coco think that he's a ghost and they're trying to catch him, and all this zaniness and silliness occurs. Watching this episode again after many years reminds me just how creative and witty Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was. In fact, there's a joke in this episode that I did not catch until I saw it again a few days ago. The overall tone and atmosphere of this episode was over the top in all the right ways. From the purple-blue shading to the silhouettes whenever they're walking, it kind of felt like an homage to Scooby-Doo episodes sometimes. The episode in its entirety is just comedic gold, especially with the hilarious reveal at the end of the episode. It'll have you in stitches from beginning to end. Look over there, it's my number 3 choice. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. You cannot make a top 10 cartoon Halloween specials list without at least including this iconic Halloween special. And just like the Fosters episode, I forgot just how hilarious and witty a Peanuts special truly is. I mean, there are many scenes in this special that had me laughing out loud, especially this one scene that is just as relevant now as it was back then, where Linus is saying there are 3 things you should never talk about with other people: religion, politics, and the Great Pumpkin. Not to mention how universal this Halloween special is. It just has a sort of charm and innocence to it that anybody around the world could just fall in love with it and find it so darn cute and adorable, especially when it comes to Linus. I really rooted for this guy in this special, and I wanted the Great Pumpkin to be real for his sake. I mean, he deserves it. He's such a sweet kid. All the hallmarks that make the Peanuts great are in this special. It's charming, it's cute, it's innocent, and it's evergreen. It is just a perfect Halloween special and a must-see. It's a tradition. You have to see this for Halloween. Coming in at number 2 is Billy and Mandy's Jacked Up Halloween. Let's see here. We got a pumpkin army led by Jack-o'-lantern himself, wielding the Grim Reaper's scythe, out for revenge against the Grim Reaper and the people who have shunned him, and he wants to rule the world and make it Halloween forever, and it's up to Billy, Mandy, and Grim to stop him. That sounds like a recipe for one hell of a Halloween special, and that's exactly what Billy and Mandy's Jacked Up Halloween is. It's just a hoot. Now, I am willing to admit 100% that this might be the fanboy in me talking, but this, to me, is a Halloween classic. Like, when it's Halloween time, this is one of the specials that I need to watch. I have so much fun every single time that I watch it, and for 2 main reasons. First off, Jack-o'-lantern. He is just a perfect villain to have in a Halloween special, and he is voiced perfectly by Wayne Knight. And you guys might know him as the dragon from Shaolin Showdown. And I, for one, really like the way that Grimm tells the story of Jack-o'-lantern and why people use pumpkins on Halloween. It felt like one of those old Greek myths that you read in class that explains why the sun rises and sets and why the moon rises, why there's earthquakes. Something to explain a significant event or a custom that not a lot of people know the origins to. I love that form of storytelling. It's just so fascinating. And the second thing that made this special so great to me is the running gag throughout the entire special about Irwin's choice of costumes. They will have you laughing out loud constantly. All in all, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy is just a perfect show to do a Halloween special. I mean, the tone and atmosphere of the show alone fits perfectly with the season, and they made one hell of a great Halloween special. But honestly, when it comes to Halloween specials, there's only one Halloween special that I hold very close to my heart. It still resonates with me to this very day and has left a really profound impact on me. And that Halloween special is The Fairly Odd Parents, Scary Godparents. The Fairly Odd Parents in their earlier years were one of the only shows that really spoke to me as a kid. It actually addressed a lot of the topics and thoughts that I had growing up, like, what would it be like if Christmas was every day? What would it be like if adults were no longer in control? Kids were in control. What would it be like if I were to travel from channel to channel and live in all of my favorite shows? And finally, most importantly, What would it be like if everyone around the world turned into the very thing that they were dressed up as on Halloween? This was the episode that answered that question. And as a kid, I was just sucked into this episode. I just could not get enough of it, and I enjoyed it. Not to mention the significant impact it has had on my life. It was this very Halloween special that inspired me to write my very own story based off of the same concept of people becoming what they're dressed up as in Halloween, thus inspiring me to become a writer. This was the genesis, people. This was the thing that got me into writing. I know that might seem strange to many of you, but it is the truth. I was so blown away by the creativity, the concept, the humor, the characters, that it got me wanting to write my own stories as well. It was thanks to this Halloween special. Not to mention, it's just a hoot to watch. I mean, just seeing the various characters turn into like vampires, mummies, Frankensteins, and seeing them kind of become creative with all the different kind of characters. And I do like the climax of the episode and how they kind of resolve everything by the end. It's really well done. And it's because of its creativity, how memorable it is, how much fun it was to watch, and how influential it was on my life that makes Scary Odd Parents my #1 favorite cartoon Halloween special, and hopefully I can find it online so you guys can watch it for yourselves. Link in the description. And those, ladies and gentlemen, were my top 10 favorite cartoon Halloween specials. And I would love to know what you guys thought about my list. Hopefully many of you agree with them. Maybe some of you disagree with them. Did you feel like I left any Halloween specials out that you really enjoyed? And also let me know, what are your favorite cartoon Halloween specials? Comment below and let me know. And thank you so much for watching this video. Have a happy Halloween. And now I'm gonna go out and enjoy my Halloween as well. So until then, guys, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel and be a part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm 21 this second, trying my best to do a vampire impression, but it's failing miserably as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, a peace, YouTube.